So this talk grew out of a discussion we had at the end of our last session, very mundane, about the relationship of the sangha and money. But this set me thinking about the relationship of our practice to the very mundane but immediately important world of money, how we gain the means of livelihood, subsistence in whatever way we do, the relationship of that to the Dharma, and specifically to the practice of generosity, Buddhist Paramita or Dharma, generosity as, well, something different. Look, we live in a world of value. We live in a world where everything, or almost everything and increasingly everything, has its price. Everything is implicitly or explicitly governed by contract. And is this good value, and can I get something extra out of this? Contracts are supposed to be exchanges of equal value, but as we know, the whole point of a contract is to try and get more than the other person, more than the person that you're contracting with. Take advantage. That's good business, that's good value, that's good life. We used to be able to quantify everything in terms of value and make a judgment along those lines. Generosity, Dharma, is a completely different model of, well, giving and taking, giving and receiving. Now, there are different ways we can understand this, and I think some of them can actually, well, potentially get us into trouble. So it's maybe important to try and understand the differences here. The principle of Dharma is infinite generosity, that we give and give and give and give without thought, without reflection, without any sense of giver. Might call it the archetype, the epitome of this attitude is embodied in the Jataka tales, the Bodhisattva, the being who is to become Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha, who gives and gives of everything that he has over and over again throughout near infinity of lifetimes. He sees some starving lion cubs. How appalling, how terrible. The suffering. Here, eat my own flesh, eat my own body. He's in the forest with his wife and children. Comes across a couple who want servants. Please have my wife and children as slaves. Give everything you ask, I give you. This is presented as the epitome of the correct attitude towards Dharma. It's a deliberate and intentional unselfishness. I purify myself as self. I transcend all thoughts of self. Ascetic practices fit into this, and we might remember I think it's 6 years that Shakyamuni spent practicing the most rigorous asceticism imaginable, starvation, roasting himself in the sun and by bonfires and other traditional practices. Harden up, man up. This is beyond hardcore. And yet, of course, we might remember that it's precisely at the moment that he abandons these practices that he gains the insight that we call enlightenment, that we call awakening, the reason why we call him the Buddha. And in fact, we might think this is being sneaky or trivial or just plain stupid, but we might think that a practice of endless giving of self, of giving away one's wife and children in pursuit of Buddhahood, was actually quite a selfish practice. So a serious point here is that this way of looking at things, of selfish and unselfish, doesn't really get beyond this idea. It's actually it's a practice of separate self. And again, the imagination, the fantasy, because that's what it is, that I have a separate self, a self entirely apart from the world. And that what I need to do then is transcend or see through the self or destroy it or something. And this view of dana, of generosity, is distinctly one way. But then it also, why is it so hard? Well, because basically it asks me to do the impossible. It asks me to give unstintingly and with no thought of self, no awareness of self, while practicing the paramita. So the paramita only becomes real at the point that it's forgotten. Dana only becomes dana when we don't think of it as dana. And that's taking us right back to this kind of fundamental paradox that you find in the wisdom literature. And yet, if we remember that this fantasy of a separate self is a fantasy of a separate self, we remember that life is relationship, that life is, and the sutras are quite explicit about this, interconnectedness, interdependence. As my own teacher says, you can't be yourself by yourself. We give, we receive. Everything I have, and not just everything I have, but everything I am, I have been given. Everything. No contract. No thought of return. No quantification. Just the gift that is this for what it's worth. What might I feel in response to this? What I do feel is gratitude, infinite gratitude. I have been given everything. How could I not be infinitely grateful for this? Doesn't always feel like it. I might not always have that perception. I might be given, and I have been given, and I'm sure I will be given many things for which I feel no immediate gratitude, hostility, anger, outrage, despair. And yet still I have been given, and everything I have and everything I am, I have been given. I have received. The world practices the perfection of giving. Dana paramita, dan haramitsu. And I am its beneficiary, and I cannot help but be grateful for the gift of the world, the care of the world. In this moment, I'm infinitely grateful to my teacher. I would not be sitting here this evening talking to you if it were not for his infinite gift of the Dharma, of nothing. I'm infinitely grateful for all the students that I work with who teach me so much. This is not one way. And I'm sure I've taught my teacher. I know I've taught my teacher. This is always two-way. The arrow points in both directions, always. That's why this model of giver, gift, given to is just plain wrong. We can abstract that, we can think of it usefully in those terms, but the underlying reality is completely different. Not separate. Not a separate me in a separate world. In this moment, the realization of the perfection of Dharma Paramita. And so a practice of Dharma is really just in the aim of realizing this, realizing the nature of the world, becoming better aware of the nature of the world, and practicing with this awareness. Why? Because it changes us. It changes our relationship with the world, our relationship with ourselves, because we are part of this world. Perfection here and now. And so we might become aware, better aware, hopefully we're aware to some degree of how we do practice this. And let's think about the very realistic ways in which we practice generosity. Simply recognizing the other beings with whom we exist. Our partners, our families, our children, our parents, our friends, our work colleagues. To the extent that we offer them real mutual recognition, that we understand relationship as this ongoing exploration of the infinitely marvellous possibility of life, of existence. We're already practicing Dharma Paramita. When we listen to somebody, when we really pay them attention, we're practicing Dharma Paramita, Dhanharamitsu. When we take care of ourselves, we are practicing this. When we take care of each other, when we take care of the world. Every action, every gesture in this sense. I don't know why I'm reminded of this, but, sometimes when we're on sesshin or other retreats, somebody will be doing walking meditation or just walking from A to B, and somebody will see a caterpillar, big furry caterpillar that's in the middle of the path. And I go, pick it up and carefully move it out the way. And in a sense, how trivial, how ridiculous. Even, how self-consciously Buddhist. But perfect. It's care. It's taking care. It's being aware of another being. It's important. All our actions, all our gestures, all our thoughts and feelings. Dhanharamitsu. Dharma Paramita. Because in this awareness of ourselves, of each other, of all beings, in our listening, in our care, we implicitly manifest this gratitude for the world. We're not constricting, not closing off, not limiting ourselves. And that's all that this really is, what this is about, here and now, as we're practicing. Mutual recognition, whether that's my partner or the caterpillar. It all matters. It's all important. And this is obviously the opposite of reducing everything to a simple exchange of value and a price. And traditionally there's an aspect of Dharma which is, maybe I find complex, maybe you don't, I don't know. Traditionally, we distinguish between two kinds: the gift of material goods, the gift of the Dharma. The gift of the material goods is the responsibility of the laity. That is, not monks, not priests. The gift of the Dharma is the responsibility of monks and priests. They practice on your behalf. You give them your money, or your time, or your labour, or whatever. We say that ordinary mind is a lay lineage, a lay tradition. And that's perfectly true in terms of monks and lay people, obviously. Other names we give that are householder Zen, which kind of sounds like an old guy with a mortgage or something like that to me. I wonder if perhaps, let's invent another term, homemaker Zen. Homemaker Zen. How does that sound? How would that be different from householder Zen? Either way, it's different from the whole kind of monastic aspiration and the idea that there are these other guys and other women out there who will do the practice for you. We have nobody else. We have nowhere to go. This is the practice. This is the Dharma for better or worse. This is as good as it gets. As Barry always says, the good news and the bad news. This is the face of the Dharma. Get used to it. No one else, nowhere else. This is it. In this place, in this moment, the perfection of Dharma Paramita. Or not, if we don't think so. So this is certainly different from our contractual way of thinking. It's difficult not to bring this to the Dharma as well, isn't it? We're permanently shopping around. There, a bit cheaper there. Oh, no, didn't get the upgrade. And it's difficult not to bring that to the Dharma, Is this sangha the best sangha? Is this the sangha the best sangha for me? Does it offer good value? And of course we say the Dharma is offered freely. Dana, Dharma. Yeah. It's useless, we say. Our practice is useless. Zazen is useless. This practice is useless. Oh, so it must be worthless. Does it have no value? Does the Dharma have no value? Does the practice have no value? Do I have no value? Or do I have a value? I have to eat. We all have to eat. Yeah. I need clothes. I need somewhere to sleep. Hell, not just that. I'm not a monk. I want to enjoy my life. Or more. And it's all compromise. It's all complicated. So do we see the Dharma as something lofty, something floating pure above material concerns, or as some people do we sell it? $5,000 for enlightenment, cheap at the price, you'll never regret it. Where I want to go with this, what I want to stress is actually no, Dharma as relationship. Dharma is always relationship. That's the name of the game, because existence is relationship. Dharma is simply the recognition of the always reciprocality, well, not reciprocality, mutuality of this relationship, because it's not just separate things giving and receiving from each other. It's the fact that only together is there any giving and receiving at all. Only in the mutuality. I don't exist as separate from you. You don't exist as separate from me or any other being. This is the world. This is how we are. So how do we practice sangha as relationship? And what's the role of dharna in that? Is dharna just doing a fundraising drive Or are there different ways in which we can understand Dharma as relationship? I was reminded by a friend that in psychoanalysis it's seen as vital, basically, that the patient pays something. Why? Because it's seen that this is the foundation of relationship. You're not just, in Joko's wonderful image, a baby bird going, feed me, feed me. No, this is a two-way process. We have to do this together. We have to participate together. Relationship. Obviously, that's sort of governed by contract, but I think it's a really, hopefully, important principle that so many of the people in this sangha do so much for the sangha anyway, and it's not saying that we should or shouldn't practice our dharma in any given way. But the sangha has demands. When we go on sesshin, we need to pay for that, we need to pay for this, pay for that, pay for whatever. I need to eat, I need to live. How does that show up? How does the mundane show up as the way we relate to each other? How do we build relationship within sangha? It's ongoing, always. So maybe we think about that now. Maybe we think about it together, going forwards. But let's not think of Dharma as simply an endless showering of gift, because it doesn't make any sense and it goes against our non-separation. How do we practice Dharma? How do we practice Dhan Haramitsu as relationship?